They had the same challenge as the Democrats, which was how to make it interesting when it's basically a virtual presence. So we had Donald Trump in North Carolina today before he went to these pre-recorded segments this evening, but he wasn't going to miss out on that primetime space. This was a discussion happening before this evening that President Donald Trump wants his appearance. He wants to be involved in every single night of the convention. That's compared to Joe Biden, who really did some minor appearances but saved everything for his big speech on the final night. And so the question was how they were going to manage this. He did it by hosting 2 different sit-downs. Now, it's notable that no one was wearing masks, and the distancing, the cameras can always be deceiving, but it did seem awfully close. But there was this discussion. He started with first responders to the coronavirus pandemic, which has been a strong card of the Democrats so far, and saying that he's not handling the pandemic properly. He was tackling that head on quite early on in the evening, and he spoke to some nurses.
It takes a true leader to be able to ignore all that stuff and do what is right and not be offended by all the words being said. Yeah. And you really do show that positive spirit to us. And as nurses, I appreciate that. But just as an individual, I'm grateful for that.
Well, I'm for the nurses. I'm for the doctors. I'm for everybody. We just have to make this China virus go away, and it's happening.
Now, Ash, another theme of the evening was about Joe Biden's ability to perform on the international stage, and that's something where the Republicans are saying they could do better and that Trump has done better. And so the way to demonstrate this evening was he had a panel of people who are American citizens but have been taken hostage overseas. He sat with them and they each went around and thanked him in their own ways for getting them back home. But this was in the backdrop of Nikki Hayley, the former UN Ambassador for the US, speaking about how she doesn't think Joe Biden would be up to the task, and this is how Trump wanted to demonstrate that point today.
We have 6 incredible people who were held hostage by various countries, and I'm very pleased to let everybody know that we brought back.
I went through a lot in their injustice system, in the Iranian justice system. Iran is an oppressive, extortionist, terrorist regime. You know what I'm talking about. But what you did, sir, is you were able to get me out of that prison in record time. It was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Now, that's almost the end of the real presence here in North Carolina. There was that formal procedural motions done earlier in the day, and that was done with a few hundred Republican staffers brought in to town. They had to adhere to strict social distancing measures because that's something that was really stopping anything going ahead here. They still wanted to go ahead, the Republican side, with a full convention, but state and local level authorities said it simply couldn't happen. So this was the compromise, although I'd bet on Donald Trump being back here in North Carolina before the election day because he does hold it with just a 3% margin, not a state they can afford to lose.